Hey guys, and welcome to the first part of my build tutorial series. It is much awaited, probably overhyped, but here we go. It's probably my 6th attempt at recording this, so hopefully this is the last time I have to do it and we can just get this ball rolling finally. But anyway, without further ado, this series is going to be showing you how I go through the whole entire process of building a house in The Sims. So from having no idea whatsoever to having the idea to building it, to landscaping, to roofing, interiors, colour palettes, everything to do with me creating a house in The Sims. So basically by the end of this series, hopefully you should have like a bit more confidence about trying something new in building, or even trying building for the first time. I'm going to go through everything I do along the way, so hopefully that should answer all of your questions. And also feel free to always ask me questions in the comment section down below. I'll allow it for this one. No question is a stupid question. I'm going to throw that one out there. But please do watch the entire video before asking questions, because I may cover it in the video and I wouldn't want you to ask it and it's already been answered. So anyway, starting off, where I get my inspiration from is going to be covered in this part. So I always go to Pinterest. I'm sure I mention Pinterest at least 5 times in every video, but yeah, this is where I go to get my inspiration. I have a page, I have lots of pins, so if you want to go ahead and follow my boards, it is pinterest.com/Hey Harrie, and you'll find me here. You can just press follow. I have loads of different boards for different subjects. For example, I don't know, maybe you want to build in Oasis Springs, then the Spanish style homes may be useful to you, mid-century modern houses may be useful to you. Say you want to build something in Brindleton Bay, then like Cape Cod style and Dutch colonial style will be relevant. Just lots of inspiration. If you just want to look through, go ahead. But I always start on Pinterest to search for something. So I'm going to tell you the best way that I find to actually find all these pins that I've got here. Lots of the time, when you first start into Pinterest, you'll be here at the home page. You'll have pins of kind of relevant pins. Pinterest picks relevant pins for you. I don't think they're actually pins from people I'm following. That's now a separate tab for some reason. I don't know, but these ones are like basically hand-picked for you based on pins that you already have pinned, and also like your most recent searches. Whenever I search for something, I find the next time I come into the homepage, I have loads of pins here that are relevant to that last search that I did. So anyway, I think the easiest way for someone to get started is probably to go by house plans or floor plans, just because they show like the different angles of the building. Most of the time I probably go by a floor plan, not necessarily for the floor plan, but for the image of the front and the back of the house. But also lots of times I just look at a photo and go from there. I'm not someone that can just go in the game and just plop some squares down and, well, hey, you've got a house. I always have reference material for the outside. Rarely do I have reference material for the inside, but you know, something special might pop into my feed here and I like the interior, and I'll just make a house up just so I can do that interior. That sometimes happens, very rarely, but it's normally the outside of a house that inspires me. So to search, the best way to search, I'm gonna search for I'm going to say farmhouse floor plans. I'm going to search for it that way. Okay, so these, I find the best way to do it is to search for floor plans, and then I'm trying to track the pin that is kind of most relevant to the search that I just did. So I'll look for something that fulfills all of my criteria. For example, I know that this image here is perfect. It shows different elevations of the house, and it has the full floor plan here. So what I would actually do, because you see this isn't very relevant, it's an interior, what's that got to do with the floor plan? That they're not relevant. So what I would actually do is click on this one. That's the most relevant. You may want to pin that to whatever board you've got going, but you'll see by clicking on this, they have the more like this underneath, and it's just chocked full now of floor plans, and that are so much more relevant than everything else that was on the search previously. Before, it had loads of filler images that just weren't relevant. Here it's just more condensed, it's just more relevant. You can see all of these appear to be floor plans rather than before you just had a couple of floor plans. Now they're all lots of floor plans. So what I would do is go through and pin whatever ones I'm interested in, and then pick whichever one I like from these pins to then keep on searching. So I could go from pin to pin to pin, say I like this one the most. Then that's going to bring a whole load more of plans, and I'll just go and select my favourite pin from down below, and they'll take me to a whole new set of pins available. That's exactly how I search. I just find it gets you pins that are a lot more relevant than this. It's just a lot more condensed and a lot more relevant. Also, it'll probably show you more pins that are from the same website, and I'll go into the website that I use for floor plans, which is definitely the one that I just clicked on, by the way. So yeah, so that is how you search for images that you want on Pinterest. I'm just going to go through the websites that I use for the different kinds of builds that I'm looking for. So general, suburban, farmhouse, all kinds of styles, not ultra modern, but let's call them family homes. Family homes, I'm going to come here to architecturaldesigns.com. I will have all of the links to the websites that I'm talking about down below in the description box, but you can search here. You can search by like how many beds you want, how many baths. I don't pay too much attention, to be quite honest, to how many bedrooms and bathrooms they have, because I tend to just look at the outside of the houses. So you've got here, you can go by different styles of buildings and everything. It's a really great place to go to. They normally have, front and back elevations. You really just want to see as many angles of the house as possible to help you get a better picture of what it looks like. And they also have some real houses that have been built using the plans as well. So there we go. The next place that I probably prefer over this one is a recent find. It's called Southern Living, and I don't know why, but the painted previews inspire me a little bit more than seeing the picture of the real house. I don't know, it just triggers something in my brain. So I actually prefer this one with all its like painted. It has quite a few of these painted floor plans. The only problem with this site is most of the time you do not get a back elevation because they're painted. They don't like to give you a back elevation, so maybe not use these if it's your first attempt. These will be a little bit more for the intermediate advanced builder. If you're comfortable with completely making up the back of the house, and you don't need to see it. If you just want to go by the floor plans and interpret them. So that's that one. Another one, do you know what I haven't? This one, right, let me go to these. I completely forgot about this one when I was setting up. Sears house plans. These are super simple house plans. They are genius. They're all archives of old ones, as you can see. They have the floor plan, they have a nice image. To be quite honest, you probably don't even need the back of this house because it's that simple. These ones are easily interpreted into game because they're a lot more of a simpler design than the other ones that I was showing you. So definitely if you are a noob to building, I would say go to Sears plans. They're very, very good and easily interpreted into the game. So those are kind of the family houses. Now for modern builds, I do actually tend just to look on Pinterest, to be quite honest. I have a lot of pins in my board. I just pin them as I go along. This is not me sitting down for hours and saying I'm going to pin every single modern build that I find. This is just as I go along. I may see something that catches my eye and I'll click and pin it to this. But one of a really good website that I want to tell you about is Arc Daily, and it just has, inspirational builds. You can search by country and everything, and it's going to have a lot more detail in this because it is basically an architect's Bible. It's going to tell you everything about what went on in the house. It's going to have loads more images. Look, there's 44 images for this one project. It'll go through. It probably has floor plans as well along the way. But this is going to be a place that you find kind of big builds. Very inspirational builds. We're not talking about a small little modern starter, if you get what I mean. These are like ridiculous huge buildings. But that's definitely one to check out if you are looking, I don't know, for like a modern mansion or something like that. That would be a really good way of starting out. They also have things, not just houses. They also have like commercial lots. Say you wanted to build a commercial lot, you may want to look at that. They have landscapes, they have like parks and things like that. All types of projects on here throughout the world, all over the world projects. So they're really inspirational, maybe a little bit intimidating, but they might spark something. So that's Arc Daily. Now for my old kind of like Parisian themed or even Victorian themed, Tudor themed, I go to Archiseek. It's a website that has loads of sketches and drawings from buildings that have been made, I think, primarily in Ireland. It seems to be like an archive for old Irish builds, but it has buildings from all over the world. So every project is different. Some of them may have a floor plan, some of them are just an image, but there's lots of inspiration on here. You could be here for a very long time. We'll go to USA. They have all different things. This is something that I started and never finished, but you have a little floor plan there. They're just great inspiration because I know when I'm using Felix Sanders CC, I need an inspiration image for it. It's just, I can't make that stuff up at all. So I really do always have a reference image for that. And then another website that has lots of these images collected together is Archi Maps. It's a Tumblr, so I don't know if they're very good to search through, but a lot of these pins are also on Pinterest. So if you find one of these in my classical boards pin, classical architecture pin, then you can click on that and get to more that are just like that. Let me see if I can find one. Archi Maps. Yeah, because if you click on these, it just gives you more that are relevant. So there's loads more that are from that Tumblr here as well. This Tumblr is just brilliant. They are a genius at collecting images of old architecture, and this is the most inspirational website I have for this kind of stuff. It has all kinds of interiors, just everything on here you could possibly want. So if you're looking for that kind of inspiration, that is where you're going to get it. So what I really look for in these kinds of images is to make sure that I can actually interpret this into the game, because it's all well and good I've given you all these sites, but if you pick something that really just isn't possible to be rebuilt in the game, then you know, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So what I do look at, I'm just going to pick something that I know is kind of a little bit trickier than it looks, which is going to be this image, which really looks like a pretty simple house. The only thing that is actually tricky about this is these windows. I see this all the time. These little windows that actually appear to go across 2 levels, kind of, and have roofing that slopes down. This is just really not possible to recreate it like that. And have this, you see how there's like this little kind of half a wall height exposed? That's just, it's not going to happen. If you build this in the game, you're going to have to bring this roof down and it's going to meet this roof here. So it will still look great. It's just that this whole half a wall height thing is just not going to happen. If we had constrained floor elevations, it might happen, but not in The Sims 4. So yeah, I basically look at how many levels this is going to be and break it down to how I think I'm going to build it. So for this one, I would say you've got a foundation level that you need to put in. You've got one level that probably ends here at the top of this roof, which is, I would say that's probably like a medium wall height. These are all just guesses. This is what I'm kind of trying to break it down before I start building it in game, just to make sure that it is actually possible. And then this one, I can do these and piece together the roof, but I'm going to have to make it meet that section there. So we're not going to have this little extra bit of wall. And also making sure that different sections of the house look like they are on the same level. So these seem fine. These, you know, there's not any weird half a step up or down with roofs. That would be pretty simple to make in game. Also, I'm probably thinking about what in-game content I would use to build it. Sometimes I may even just see something and I say, oh, that looks like something in the game, and I'll probably pick that one because it reminds me of something in game. Maybe thinking about the size of lot, probably this one. I would say like a 30 by 20 lot would be fine to fit it on. And also if I want to create this with or without CC. This one, to be quite honest, I'd love to use like, say, peacemakers, windows and doors on it. I think they would be perfect this kind of build. But yeah, those are kind of 4 of the things that I look for when I'm trying to find inspirational images. Finally, last but no means least, I'm going to show you what I have actually decided to build for this build tutorial series. I have gone with this Weebly cottage. I picked this because as I said, sometimes I just look and I see something that reminds me of in-game content and it just draws my eye, which would, number one, be the Tudor wallpaper. We have that in Get Together. It's just perfect. I've also picked this because it looks like there's like a step down into the garden there, and I thought, oh, maybe then I can show you how I make my kind of tiered landscaping using the foundations and going down. I really like to do that. There's lots of opportunity to show you how to do landscaping in this, which I'm pretty sure most people are wanting. Also, another thing this creates the opportunity to do is to show you how I would tackle the roofing, because there is this like whole entire area here is the second floor built inside of a roof, which I know sometimes people struggle with to make it look right, and to also make sure that there's not like roofing clipping through into their play area. So I'll show you how to piece together the roof here. I've kind of analysed this. I always analyse the images just like I did with the last one, and I would say that like the first level, it could be a medium or it could be a short wall height. I always like to build on a medium wall height, I'm not going to lie, so most of the time it is that. I would probably do a medium wall height for the first level, and then maybe even a short wall height for the second level. And And the only issues I see creating this in-game is sometimes you have like this window here. There is an in-game window that's kind of similar to this that came with Get Together that could make it look exactly like this, but there also the fact that sometimes it just doesn't fit. Maybe it's only 2 tiles wide and we need it to be 3 tiles, so we'll have to make that out of a wall, and you just can't have this kind of overhang that you've got here, the window coming out. That's just not possible with the wall. If you build a foundation, then it has to, and you build a wall, it always has foundation underneath, unfortunately, which I actually wish it didn't. I wish you could choose to like remove the foundation from a certain part of the house, but that's not possible. So yeah, this is the house that I have decided to build. What else was there going to be a problem? Also, I noticed how like this first level here seems to kind of end along this line on this side of the house, but on this side of the house, the first level seems to end up here. So I think the way we're going to get around that is to make sure that we pick a wallpaper that gives us like an optical illusion that the house actually ends higher than it does, like the first level ends higher than it does on this side, and fingers crossed it should all work out. Also, I'm probably gonna go way ham on the landscaping on this, just so I can show you every kind of trick I can attempt to pull out of the bag. This house, I love it. It has a floor plan here that I really just use the outside of the floor plan. I tend not to look at how many rooms are inside. I'm really just looking at this floor plan for the shape of it, because I actually prioritize the outside shape of the house rather than the layout, because I know I can do whatever layout I need to. Once I get in game, I can change the layout how I need to. I'd rather change the layout than change the appearance of the outside of the house to do that. But I did have a little bit of another thought to do with that one. I found where is it now? Cottage style. I've found this pin and I really like this whole conservatory look. So I was thinking maybe we can adapt these floor plans. They've got this like master suite here. Maybe instead we can put a conservatory out there or something like that. Unfortunately, me and my analysis of things before I do them, I know that I can't really get this looking just like that conservatory, because in game, when you use glass roofs, if you overlap them, you can still see multiple roofs. You know, like how you normally piece together roofs, you can't see where they overlap, but with glass roofs you can. I wish they kind of cut out each other. You'll see it more when we get into game, but they don't. So fingers crossed I haven't gone on for too long. Next part, we will go into the game and start doing this. I'm probably gonna pick a ginormous lot for this. I feel like this is probably a 30 by 40. Fingers crossed. If it moves to a 64 by 64, do not be surprised, because I have a habit of doing things like that, because I like more landscaping than house on the lot. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave any comments down below. Maybe there is something else you'd like me to cover in this series. Just leave the suggestion down below. I'm not too sure whether or not I'm going to be using custom content in this. It maybe need peacemaker windows. I'm not too sure, but I'm trying to keep this one CC free. If you're just like, no, we want all the CC, let me know. I was going to create a poll, but it's not that big a deal. So if you would like, or if you have a strong opinion on CC being used in this build, let me know. But the next part should be up within the next few days, and we'll be going into The Sims and finally starting to build this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!